Welcome to Module 1 of the Curriculum Globale. This module is called Approaching Adult Education. The module includes 4 sections. They are: what does adult learning and education mean? How does it work and what are its benefits? What is the relationship between teachers and learners in different adult learning theories? What policies influence adult learning and education nationally and globally? And lastly, number 4, what is it like to have adult education as a profession? You are now in Section 1, Introduction to what adult learning and education is. This section is divided into 3 parts. What is adult education? The significance and functions of adult education and learning, and active participation in adult education in the context of lifelong learning. Let us begin. As a human species, we have probably always learned. There is no way to pinpoint when learning started or when it became the thing we know today. Some of the oldest surviving documented descriptions of learning we have from the Greeks, and it is also from Greek we have the word pedagogy and later andragogy. Pedagogue literally means someone that leads children. Andragogue as a term was coined in 1833 by Alexander Kapp, a German high school teacher. Andragogue literally means leading man. We will come back to what that distinction means in terms of learning principles and teaching methods later on. Famous Greek philosophers discussing the importance of learning include, for example, Socrates, Aristotle, Heraclitus, and Seneca. As a matter of fact, much of what they discussed or developed is still the foundation of our understanding and approach to learning today. And despite all diverse functions that adult education has in different countries around the world, one common theme is addressing educational needs. This is done in a variety of ways, using different approaches and methods. When we look at adult education this way, we automatically include it into a wider context, making its areas and contents broader in the context of technological and civilizational progress and the new human roles and challenges in society of today. That sounds fancy enough, doesn't it? And perhaps even a bit pompous. But if there is one thing I associate with adult education, it would actually be honesty. Perhaps it is true that you can never fake it in front of children. They will always look through a phony and call out the bluff. If you have ever tried to teach or even raise children, you probably know what I mean. Well, I put it to you that the same is true when you stand in front of a group of adults and are about to try and teach them something. You simply need to be there, to be present in the room, to have any chance of success. Sure, you can hide behind a desk, a role, or a book, or even a presentation. But I think the timbre of your voice will give you away. I also think a good teacher is able to read the room and to listen. And while small children can be made to sit down and be quiet, at least for a while, this is not really going to work with adults. So there is a reason the field of andragogy has developed and is not identical to pedagogy, even if they do share many same traits. So when someone asks you what adult learning and education mean, how do you answer? Do you point to the number of schools or educational institutions offering classes for adults in your country? Do you refer to national or international policy? Or do you perhaps say it's like a school for children but with adults instead? Well, take a minute or two here and now and give it some thought. How do you understand adult education? The truth is There is no simple answer. It will always depend on your point of view, your experience, and your context. In Finland, we have tried to turn this into a strength. When we argue for the need of adult education, for its significance, we say that it is a vital part of a functioning democratic society. We admit adult education has many faces and thus means many different things to different people. Allowing for this freedom to exist and develop has played a role in building trust in people and in the system. Because a system that trusts people will also be more trusted by the people. Thanks to this openness, learning has become something of part of a Finnish DNA almost. As you can see, this is rather far away from explaining what adult education and learning mean through counting the number of schools or drawing a chart of the educational system. So, if you ask me, it is true adult education is not easily defined. At least not if you want to catch its many nuances. This allows for a certain degree of freedom. It's perhaps true that within this lies both a great strength and a terrible weakness. Funders, politicians, and society seem to increasingly want proof of efficiency and a way to measure outcomes. It is understandable. Adult education is largely funded by public money in many parts of the world, and we need transparency and accountability. My point is simply that we should be wary of simplifying what adult education is when we try to explain its uses and functions. For one thing, I think learning is a slow process and its results are not always easily or quickly measurable. Now, I understand this might not help you very much. Well, if honesty is one of the things I associate with adult education, another is complexity. As an adult educator, I feel it not my role to give people answers. Rather, it's about posing good questions. This, again, was something, for example, Socrates developed into an art form.